I'm Vayoni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Slow implementation of the Lesson Learned Commission's recommendations is the reason that there will be a resolution against Sri Lanka in Geneva. Supreme Court dismissed the case against Chief Justice Mohan Peiris. Petitioner's lawyer complains on death threats. An exclusive interview with Bodu Blala Sena program coordinator about the accusations that the organization is racist. Embassy of Sri Lanka in Washington, D.C. embarks on an ambitious initiative to promote Sri Lanka as a travel destination. There will be a procedural resolution against Sri Lanka at the upcoming United Nations Human Rights Council sessions in Geneva in March, confirmed the high-level United States State Department delegation that visited Sri Lanka last week. According to the members of the delegation, the resolution was being brought due to the slow implementation process of the Lesson Learned and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations. The resolution had been discussed with the Sri Lanka government, said the delegation. According to the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, James Moore, the resolution will promote reconciliation and implementation of the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission. We have emphasized the necessity of rapid program in the efforts of reaching stable peace and harmony during our meetings. Here needs to be healing and there cannot be reconciliation without accountability, said Assistant Secretary Moore. The lawyer Nagananda Kodituaku, who is a British passport holder who appeared for the petitioner in the fundamental rights application in connection with the case, where the former Attorney General and present Chief Justice Mohan Peiris is a respondent along with the Finance and Planning Ministry Secretary P.B. Jayasundara, has complained to the Mirihana Police and British High Commission in Colombo of a possible threat to his life. According to the attorney Nagananda Kodituaku, he had spotted 4 suspicious men in a car observing his movements when he was at the Superior Court complex at Hausdorff, and he had taken down the number plate details and given it to the police. A 2-member bench of the Supreme Court last Friday dismissed the fundamental rights violation application with costs. Attorney Kodituaku had said that he will file revision papers in the Supreme Court in connection with the case and would also take this issue in international forums. Bodu Blala Sena, Buddhist power force, is an organization in Sri Lanka that has been in the news these days. They have been in forefront on many demonstrations and campaigns to promote Buddhism and to fight against issues that they perceive threats to the Buddhism. We are joining with Dr. Dilantha Vithanage, the program coordinator and member of the executive committee of the Bodu Blala Sena organization. Dr. Vithanage is a lecturer in the Jayawardenepura University and a former advisor to Minister of Education. Dr. Vithanage, there is a perception among some that your organization is a racist organization and an organization that is promoting religious intolerance in Sri Lanka. Your response?
I completely disagree with the statement because Bodu Blala Sena is an organization working towards building a just society, a Buddhist society. And tolerance is one of the leading characteristics of Buddhism. Of course, if you look at recently Gulf News and published an article saying that Bodu Blala Sena is a leading terror organization, which is completely false information. So we are very open and our telephone numbers, our whereabouts, everything available on the web. And we every week we meet media and express our concerns. So therefore, we categorically reject that claim that Bodu Blala Sena is racist or a terrorist organization.
Maybe because of the comments your organization made against Justice Minister Hakim in your campaign on Sri Lanka Law College entrance exam, and also your campaign against halal food. Some could argue that your organization is an anti-Muslim organization. Your comments?
Definitely not. We closely work with our Muslim friends. We are very closely working with traditional Muslim people in this country, and similarly we closely work with Tamil people as well. And I have to tell you that when Law College issue was raised, Bodu Blala Sena never spoke about it. We knew about it. But when Mr. Hakim, Minister of Justice, addressed this issue and told media that because Muslim students are intelligent, that's the reason that they got something like 25% entrance to the exam, entrance to the Law College. Then we had to intervene because Bodu Blala Sena, as a reasonable organization, we don't trust or we don't believe that because of religion, because of race, any race or any religion, people belong to that religion will be better than the other people. So then, of course, we have to criticize that particular statement. So criticizing that statement is nothing to do with Muslims. So as a responsible Minister of Justice, he could have answered that if there is an issue, I will examine into that. But instead of that, he just jumped into the question and answered that why 25% Muslim students pass in the 25% of the students pass into the Law College is Muslim because they are intelligent. So we understand there are intelligent Muslims, there are intelligent Buddhists, there are intelligent Tamils, but no one race can be intelligent than the other people. I want to tell you that we never spoke about banning halal in Sri Lanka. If you go through our first press conference details, we requested Buddhist, that's the right of Buddhist, not to consume halal food for particular reason, because according to our traditions, historical practices, we never offer Lord Buddha or our Sangha, Buddhist monks, anything offered to some other person. So because of that practice, we requested Sri Lankan Buddhists not to consume or eat halal food. Otherwise, in our statement, we clearly said that we respect our Muslim brothers to have halal foods. And at the same time, we have mentioned in our press conference that if somebody wants to export halal food for economic trade purposes, we don't have any problem with that. We never asked to ban halal. We requested Buddhists not to consume halal. Those are two different things.
There were some media reports about a statement made by one of the Buddhist monks, one of the founding members of your organization, about changing the laws in Sri Lanka to allow Buddhists also to marry 5 wives the same way allowed to Muslims. Is that your official position?
Actually, there was a press conference to expose Arab, Islamic terrorism or extremism supporting some of the Sri Lankan groups. So during that press conference, Galagodatte Janasara Hamuduru mentioned that we need to have one single legal system in this country. We don't need different legal systems for different communities. That will create problems, because he was just explaining that if a singular person marry 3 women or 2 ladies, he will be taken into prison. But if Muslim does it, that is accepted. So that means there is something wrong with the legal system because of these different practices. So he wanted to have single legal system where everybody enjoys same freedom. And in that particular context, he just joking to the media saying that if Muslims can have, say, 4 wives, even Buddhists also need to have. And then he was just telling to there was some couple of ladies there. I don't think that as ladies you will not be happy about that. And it was just a small comment he mentioned, but unfortunately the media, some of the media who are not, we can't call them reliable media, they published that particular item, small item, as the headline of that newspaper.
Being predominantly a Buddhist country, in your view, what are the biggest threats to Buddhism in Sri Lanka?
I think we don't have Buddhism in Sri Lanka practicing. That is the biggest threat.
Could you please elaborate on that?
No, what I'm trying to say that if you look at Sri Lanka, of course we say that we have Buddhism and everybody says that we promote Buddhism, but what is available? You have dansalas, this lot of pandals and everything, and Vesak lanterns and everything. But that is not Buddhism. Buddhism is where it's actually, we have cultural Buddhism in Sri Lanka. There is philosophical Buddhism where we really practice Buddhist values. I think that is missing in our country. I believe that is the biggest threat to us. So we need to bring real Buddhism back to us.
Let me ask this final question. Sri Lanka has recently come out of a 30-year-old war, and now it's important to build the unity among people and to strengthen the peace and harmony in Sri Lanka. Don't you think due to the actions of your organization, you might create a religious and racial disharmony in Sri Lanka?
I don't think. We never promoted that. And we closely work, as I told you, with different communities. Of course, we have, accused not only Muslim leaders, not only Tamil leaders, if something wrong with Buddhist leaders, even if they are at highest level, we always accused. So if something is wrong with the country, we have the right to, talk about those things. And that should not be interpreted as racism. And of course, we will definitely fight to protect our country, and we will definitely fight to have peace and harmony in this country. We will not allow any party, whether they are local or international, to have troubles between communities.
Continuing its vigorous nation branding campaign in the US, the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Washington, D.C. embarked on yet another initiative on January 31st by hosting a glittering evening for over 100 guests. In his welcome remarks, the Ambassador Jaliya Wickramasurya said that with the dawn of peace, many opportunities have emerged for international business in Sri Lanka. The embassy always harnesses this conducive environment to promote real business opportunities in Sri Lanka amongst US corporate leaders, said Ambassador Wickramasurya. The tourism industry is booming in Sri Lanka and reached 1 million tourist arrivals in 2012, surpassing all expectations. The event organized by the embassy was not only educational about Sri Lanka, but also have generated interest to visit Sri Lanka to enjoy the scenic beauty of Sri Lanka and the hospitality of its people.
I've learned that Sri Lanka has come out of its recent political conflicts quite successfully from an economic standpoint. I learned about the GDP growth being above 7%, I think it was 8%, and the growth of the tourism sector and how a lot of the major hotel chains and the luxury brands are coming up. And I learned how Lonely Planet has expressed a strong interest in Sri Lanka as a country. I previously had evaluated Sri Lanka for HSBC as a particular destination back in 2008, and I would say if it was a reevaluation right now, it would be much more highly recommended.
That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.